Welcome to Born or Made, the podcast that dives deep into the heart of success and identity. Are the traits that define us as leaders ingrained from birth, or are they carved out throughout our experiences? Join your host, Annemarie LaTulip, as we ask these questions to some of the most insightful and inspiring entrepreneurs of our time. Each episode, we explore their journeys, the decisions that shaped them, and how they've molded their own paths to success. So whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned business owner, or simply curious about the interplay between nature and nurture in professional growth, you're in the right place. Get ready for compelling stories, transformative insights, and a new perspective on what it really takes to make it in the world of entrepreneurship.
Hello and welcome back to the Born or Made podcast. I am your host, Annemarie LaTulip, and with me today I have the wonderful Coach Mo Cooper. She is a powerhouse healthy lifestyle and nutrition coach who turned her own transformation journey, losing over 65 pounds and keeping it off for more than 15 years, into her life's calling. She helps women lose weight for good, not through fads or extremes, but by building confidence, consistency, and a mindset that supports real change. Coach Mo is all about small wins, inner strength, and ditching diet drama for good. Her motto, your best health is closer than you think. So get ready for some straight talk and uplifting energy with Coach Mo. Hello, Coach Mo.
Hello, Emery. Thank you so much for having me here. This is wonderful. I can talk about what I do all day because I know how uplifting and empowering it really can be.
It's awesome. And, I got to tell you, I knew that I wanted to have you on here because, and for anyone who's listening, I met Coach Mo through a mutual friend and kind of a book, would you call it a book circle, a book club, kind of virtual book club?
Yeah.
Great. And I just loved your energy when I just on that call. So I just definitely wanted to get to know you a little bit better. So tell, other than what we just read in the bio, which was pretty explanatory about what you do, but tell us a little bit more about your journey and especially your transformation. Let's start there because it's 65 pounds is tough when you're, not a spring chicken anymore, right?
No, I mean, that happened after my last giant baby. I've had 4 children and all of them brutal.
Yeah.
And I remind them all the time how they tortured their mommy, but love them just the same. But it's amazing because we have these things happen to us in life, whether it be a child, a stressful situation. I have a friend who recently just gained 30 pounds over the last year just because of stress. And that is a big thing, which we will come back to. So put a pin in that.
Yes, I would love to put a pin in that.
Yeah, but I honestly, my origin story probably goes back to 10th grade gym class where I walked in the first day. They said, no, this is an elective. You don't need to be here. I was like, bye, I'm out of here. I didn't want to exercise. I did track in junior high. That was it. Like, I didn't exercise, other than the old elbow. I partied like a rock star in Europe,
right?
In 1990 and 91. I mean, health and wellness was the last thing on my mind. And then at the ripe old age of 29, I got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So I've had multiple sclerosis for decades now.
Oh
and
my goodness.
I know. That's what I say. That can't be right. Along with
Wow, let's put a pin in that too. We'll come back to that. Okay, continue.
But even then, I was home. I was going through all the throes of, oh my God, I have this autoimmune disease. I could lose my legs. I could lose my eyesight, all these horror stories. And even then, I didn't think to clean up my act or to, look at what I was eating or exercise or anything like that. It wasn't. And then I had a relapse in 2006, which landed me in the hospital. And that was strongly connected to the stress in my life at the time. And I thought, you know what I should do now? Have another baby. Because, I clearly didn't have enough. I didn't know it was stress related at the time.
Right. Yeah. So I had more.
It's like, let's have a baby and save the marriage. It just doesn't work, people. It just doesn't work. So So my daughter, after my daughter was born, the last, I call her Holly, the last hurrah. That Christmas after she was born, we got the kids a Wii, the video game.
Yeah.
And my then husband has to present to me. He says, "It's only because you said you want to get in shape." And I was like, "What is this?" And it was EA EA Games personal trainer.
EA Sports.
EA
Yeah.
Sports, yeah,
Yeah.
personal trainer. Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
personal trainer. And I was like, and it sat in the box for like 3 weeks. I was like, I got time for this. And then finally, I was like, okay, I'll see what it's all about. And I actually thought it was really fun. You're strapped in there, and it followed your thing and it told you what to do. And I was like, this is actually fun. So then I had to figure out, okay, what am I actually going to do this? Because I had a baby and I had the two older kids, and they're all over the place. So I started getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, which I am not a morning person at all. But it was the only time, because by the end of the day, I was exhausted. It wasn't happening.
Mhm.
In the
Yeah.
middle of the day, it was just there. That was the only time I could make. So I made it happen. I made it a priority. So I got up early to go to exercise. But then I really liked the fact that nobody wanted a piece of mommy at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
have me time. I have my coffee, my cereal. I did Jesus Calling that first year. I don't know if anyone knows, it's like a daily devotional. I would journal.
Oh,
Oh my
okay.
God, it's like living one of those bougie lives that those women, housewives live. Just
All before the
created.
sun comes up. That's so
Yes.
awesome. Okay. Yeah.
Who cares about the son? Yeah, more like the two sons and the daughter. Where they got out. That's what's most important. And
Right?
so, and so that kind of rolled. It started to roll. And so honestly, y'all, I did not start working out or even focusing on my health until I was 39 years old.
Wow.
39 years old. I mean, so many women are like, oh, it's too late. And they're in their 30s. I'm like, darling, you haven't even started. And then there's women, I'm 54 now. And I keep looking at my driver's license and no, it still says 1970. That doesn't make sense to me, but that's what it says because I don't feel 54. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's because I started to make these small change. Got up a little earlier, started actually looking. I remember my best friend, she yelled at me because I was like, how many calories are in this? And she just, oh my gosh, food is so much more than calories. And I was like, Charlie Brown, just kind of rolling back, like, what do you mean? And then I discovered what macros are and how our food is made and all these things unfolded. So then I got to the point where I got divorced. I moved to Florida for during the pandemic for a while, and I realized I was doing things for myself like I would a most loved person, like a most precious loved one. I was I was prioritizing my health. I was prioritizing my well-being. And I remember the morning I came out and all my things were set up and it was like the magic elves had come in the night, even though I had done it the night before I went to bed. And I burst into tears like, oh my God, I'm so worth this. I'm so
Oh,
worth this extra effort. And it was around that time I thought, I want everyone to feel this way. So then I got my certification in nutrition become a nutrition coach. And I was already certified in personal training. So that's where that went.
yep.
And I just like I want the whole world to know um, that you can do this. I'm not a smart dog, but I know what a slow learner is. So I don't want people to spend 13 years trying to figure this out, like going through all the
Yeah.
tribulations, because I've figured it out and it's in our daily lives. It's how we spend our energy every day, which is why I keep my calendar visible because I say your best health is hiding in your calendar and everybody has time and everybody has energy and it's all how we use it. So that's how it got me to where I am today.
That
Love
is
taking care of me.
that is so inspiring. And I mean, I can relate. I'm gonna be 53 this year.
Cheers, girl. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
Awesome.
Um, but
Life gets better after 50, I tell you.
so yeah, I can definitely relate because being almost 53,
Mhm.
I not only do I not feel 53, but I don't feel like I
Recording in progress.
act 53 either. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's such a crazy mindset to accept your physical age,
Mm,
or your I should say biological age,
yes.
right? And then to be feeling like you're so much younger and maybe not treating yourself the way you should be treating yourself
Uh,
as we get older. Does that make sense? Or does that
yes.
make sense?
Yes. It's funny because I was on a podcast last Monday. Oh, that's Tuesday. And we were talking about this very thing. And it's all about acquiring time, is what it was about. Because the podcast host was 65, looking like he was about 50, if that. And the co-host was in her 50s and just rocking it out, looking like she's in her 40s. So we were all talking about what aging means and all these misnomers and myths that come with aging, like I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to slow down, I'm going to have less energy, I'm just going to get that padding around the middle, all these things that we're told over and over and over again that are normal.
Yeah.
No, they have been normalized, but they are not normal. So when you said accept your age, what does that mean? Like, what are we accepting here?
Yeah, right. Interesting that you pointed that out. It's true because, and I gotta be completely transparent here. I am not in the shape that I would like to be in.
Mm,
I hate exercise. And it's funny that you
mm.
mentioned the we, because the only time that I really enjoy exercise is when I play with with the Oculuses, the
Yeah.
virtual
Oh,
reality.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. One of my
Right? They have,
clients does that. Yeah. He's
yeah, they have,
asthmatic, but he gets his workout in and
yeah,
it doesn't trigger his asthma. So it's great.
yeah. For me, it's just kind of like I'm bored. I get bored working out, right? And plus, I will admit I'm a little lazy when it comes to like weights and stuff, which is funny because I used to be a dancer, so I was very, very
Oh.
active. But now it's like the thought of going to the gym or working out is just not anything I want to do. But in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I'm 53 anyway. What does it matter? I'm not going to lose the weight. You know what I mean? So it's that interesting.
Oh. Yeah.
When I said accept our age, I think that's kind of what I was referring to. That it's more
Oh,
difficult. You think people
that's
think,
very interesting.
yeah, people
And
think, but you're the proof. You're proof that it's wrong. It's not true.
it's not right or wrong. It's what you create in your life. If
Yeah,
you, girl, I work out 4 times a week
yeah,
for 1 hour. That includes warm up and cool down. So actual exercise, probably about 35 to 40 minutes. And I go like tonight, my daughter's like, can we go to the gym tonight? I said, well, Monday night's my boot camp. Let's go tomorrow night. And then she's got a conflict tomorrow night. And so then I said, okay, we can go to the gym, but I can go to boot camp afterwards because I love those where my people are. So when you find
yeah.
a place, because I love seeing my people every Monday night. I don't like evenings because I prefer mornings because it's out of the way, but it's the only thing that'll fit into my schedule right now. So I just make it happen. But I have something to look forward to. Oh, and being stronger. Oh, and feeling amazing.
And feeling better. Yeah,
And looking, younger than I am and feeling like understanding my hormone. I don't have that middle age spread, but it's not luck. It's not
it's
genes. It's just it's my lifestyle. So
yeah.
it's how you choose. It's how you choose to spend your energy. Now, I'm just gonna say, circling back to you being a dancer, do you
Mhm.
because dancing, I call her my other daughter, our girl, my friend and my daughter are born 3 days apart. So
Oh yeah,
they were like twins growing up. And she's a phenomenal dancer. Like she will be a prima ballerina. She is, I cry every time. And the rigor that she has to do. I mean, she's homeschooled, online schooling, because it's the only way she can get all that training in every
yeah, yeah.
day. Her body is just constantly being. So, do you think maybe your dance background might have a little resentment of exercise because it can be so rigorous?
Yeah, and let me tell you, let me add a little layer on top of that. Besides being not only being rigorous, but I danced for Sesame Street Live uh,
Wow.
for in my in my 20s and early 30s for almost 11 years. And so talk about rigorous, that's a lot of people think it's just jumping around, and
No.
but it's actual real technical dancing inside of a Muppet costume. So it was very strenuous and
Wow.
I was in excellent shape, right? But now I'm like, and you had mentioned earlier, you had mentioned something about gaining weight. Oh, it was I don't know if it was maybe before we hit record, but um, regardless, a friend of yours, you said gained weight in a
Yeah.
year. That's what
Yeah.
happened to me. Like,
Hmm.
I went from like a size 2 to a size 12 within like, a
Oh,
year.
yeah.
And so it's been yeah, it's been tough. So to hear your story is so inspirational because I'm thinking to myself, okay, I just got to make these changes. And I love what you said. And I want to kind of circle back. There's a couple things I want to circle back to, but what you said about I'm treating myself like a dear loved one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm prioritizing my health.
It always
Like,
makes me emotional. Yes.
yeah, I mean, I love that you said that so much because I think so many times, especially as busy entrepreneurs,
Mhm.
we're so focused on making everyone else happy. And then, we kind of, at least for me, I can speak for myself, and often neglect my own stuff. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I love that. That was just really, really super inspirational. And I'm so glad we're having this talk.
Oh, there's so many women out there. Girl, I am not a unicorn. I am not special. What do you think this ADD girl has to write? Look at my calendar.
Oh my God, I love that. It's
I
so
take it
organized.
I take an hour every Sunday because if I don't do that, oh my gosh, I'm off the rails. I have lost touch with the mothership. So I am the poster child for ADHD. So I'm here to tell you, even with ADHD, even with, squirrel brain, you can still do this. And the wonderful thing is when you start treating yourself like a most precious loved one, when you start eating like it counts, when you start moving like it matters, then your body just naturally responds. One of the biggest things that is difficult for women of our age or any age, just societally, and men have their own crosses to bear for sure.
Hmm, hmm.
Women, we carry a lot of shame, guilt, things. I mean, I was in a group and I think almost everyone raised their hand saying who's been, had some sort of assault or, in their background. And it's crazy. So we have this, there is this strength that I feel we need to tap into in understanding our choices. And what was I gonna say? But women, we carry so much stress and we don't even know it. We don't understand how much stress we're carrying. So I started going to a therapist, one of many, but in my mid 40s, and he got me meditating. He recommended the Calm app, which I still use to this day. And after I met him every 2 weeks. And after 2 weeks, I come back and I was like, oh my, I don't think that Calm app is working because I feel more stressed than I ever did in my life. Like, what are you doing to me? And he goes, oh, no, no, that's good. Now you just realize you're stressed. And I was like,
Oh,
oh.
interesting.
Because I was so disconnected from myself, my body, my mind, it's just always dancing, not literally, but figuratively, just always serving everybody else, volunteer, all this and volunteer over here, and, cookie sales and all the things for the kids and my husband and all the things. Talk about losing touch with the mothership. This is the mothership. Like I am the
Yeah.
mothership. So that was such an eye opener. People say, oh, I don't have time to meditate. You don't have time to connect with yourself. Now, if you're already connected to yourself, that's awesome. But if you want to get real about the rest of your life, girl, I only got like a good 30 years left in me, I think. Now, wait, that's only 84.
Yeah,
I only
no,
have
you're gonna
40 years left in me. So
people, I mean, what is it? 80 is like the new 100 or something like that.
yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. So, I mean, I got a lot of years left in me. I'm not
Yeah,
going to squander them. Now, do I
right.
get up on Netflix sometimes? Yes, I do. I try to be, doing something while, like, folding the laundry or something while I'm doing. But we are doing ourselves such a disservice. And then we're angry, we're contemptuous, we're bitter because we're not doing the things. We're feeling overweight, we're feeling heavy mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. And then we're just taking it out on everyone around us. I was like, what is wrong with you? So
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
been there, man. I've done it. But when you start to connect with yourself, and I coach it through practice, we call it practices, is your daily practices. So you
Mhm.
have a focus, right? Where I meet you wherever you are, where we need to focus, we go for the low hanging fruit. What is going to have the most bang for its buck right now in your life? So we start there. Because you want to feel like a winner. You want to feel like, I look at me. I'm doing this. I'm doing this. And if I can do this, maybe I can do the next thing, and then the next thing, and the next thing. So,
Mhm.
but we don't know where to start. You know.
Yeah, I think that's, oh my God, that's so true. And I want to circle back to earlier, and then you just brought it up again, was the stress, talking about how, we don't realize how stressed we are, right? And so I want to talk about
Yeah.
how stress can literally cause you to be unhealthy or, gain weight. Let's
Yeah.
talk about gain weight in this particular instance because, now I'm guessing you're not talking about stress eating, just stress in general on the body. Is that?
No, it's not even stress eating, although that's part of it, of course,
Yes.
because but
Yeah.
it's interesting because you make a great point. That's secondary.
Yeah.
It's that's almost like a dog pile of stress. Like
Yeah.
so just a quick lesson on cortisol. So when we're in stress mode,
Yeah.
and remember, we as humans need the sympathetic nervous system, which is what tells us we're in danger. That's how we have evolved over how many, millions, thousands, depending on who you're talking to, years, because we didn't go investigate what was rustling in the bushes, and all the ones that did, they didn't make it. The ones that sit back and say, maybe we won't go in there. Now
Yeah.
continue to fire. Fast forward to 2025, we still have that fight or flight freeze response. There's a fourth F, which I can never remember. Still have that response, except we have difficulty understanding what's real threat and what's perceived threat. The body doesn't know the difference.
Okay.
So when we respond to um, strife with our husband, troubled children, traffic, work problems, trouble with your mother-in-law, all these things, and you don't have an outlet, you don't have an off-ramp, you are just on that highway of stress.
Yes.
Imagine your life is just one long highway of bumper to bumper traffic, and there's no exit ramp, and you don't even know, and you're thinking there is no exit ramp. This is just the way it is. And
Yeah.
then meditation is your exit ramp, and that turns the faucet on. That relieves the stress. So meditation takes on many different forms. Somatic practices like breathing, going for a walk, yoga, anything that connects us to the body and takes us out of our head. Because self-absorption is the first, like when we become self-obsessed, that is the pathway to mental illness. So let's go back to the lesson in cortisol.
Yes.
So fight or flight, totally necessary. It's what keeps us alive. But we're
Yeah.
not meant to live there. We're not meant to live on that super highway of stress. We're meant to be able to respond. Reacting is what keeps us in the sympathetic nervous system, right? We want to be in what my little author friend calls the green zone, the parasympathetic. That is the rest and digest. That's when you're just feeling like you're good, you're sailing, you're just sitting
Yeah.
back in that boat watching the clouds go by. Everything is okay. And it was like this
Yes.
morning meditation, I was saying, I am all right now, because all we have is right now. So learning how to get yourself out of that high cortisol is step number one. Is it simple? Yes. Is it easy? Not always.
Well, I
So
would imagine it would be easier for some people than others, maybe based on your brain, the busyness of
yeah.
your brain and chaos, right?
Well, the key is understanding that it's happening in the first place.
Yes. Okay.
So
Okay.
if you don't even want to admit that it's happening, that you have this stress, or that I can handle it, I can handle it. My mother was this way, my grandmother was this way, and I can handle it too. Next thing you know,
Yeah.
you got a cancer diagnosis, because that causes dis-ease in the body. And what is dis-ease? It leads to disease.
Yeah.
We create a system in our body where constantly trying to come into homeostasis. It's constantly trying to reset so it can be calm, so it can rest and digest this. But the stress and the cortisone is just like, nope, 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 nope. You're just
Yeah.
closing those exit ramps. So
So talk about,
finding
oh,
ways
sorry, I
out.
don't mean to interrupt you, but
Yeah, no.
talk
So
about,
finding ways out is such a great way. Whatever works for you. And we talk
okay.
about. Mhm.
Yeah. And I love that you brought up meditation because that's something that I think is very, for a lot of people, I think it's very underestimated and
Yes.
the power of it. But talk about cortisol, like for a minute. Let's get like,
Granular.
um, yeah, like define cortisol and how it affects
So
weight.
cortisol is a hormone, insulin is a hormone. Like we have all
Yep.
these hormones in our body, right? And so
Right.
happens when we get over 40. I did a whole masterclass on this last week.
Did you really?
I
Okay.
did. When we hit a certain age, my doctor will say, when a woman hits a certain age, and then I want to clock them. But anyway,
Is he like 30?
certain age. Um, and we are things do slow down. Like that's not
Yeah.
our body is changing. We cannot eat the way we did in our 30s when we hit our 40s, 50s. Like things in cellularly are slowing down. So cortisol, like there's all these different hormones. There's endorphins, there's insulin. Like you don't think of insulin as a hormone, but it is. And so all these things are recalibrating in the body just because of our age, how long, just how long we've been here. And so we got to shift. So we got to go with the flow, basically, or lack of flow. We'll get to that part. So we have to understand that we can't just show up and have the same results. We need to change. Do I like my glass of wine? Yes. Do I like my fun food? Yes, absolutely. But we have to make a meaning to get out of that stress, to keep that cortisol from spiking. It's so important for us to rest when we need to, like listen to the body. Don't just burn the candle at both ends. You need to rest, to exercise. And when I say exercise, resistance training, I don't care how you make it happen. It can be weights, it can be bands, it could be some dancy dance thing, although that's more cardio. And you want a blend of cardio, but resistance training mostly. The more muscle mass you have, the better your hormones release, the happier you'll be. You do not have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like I said, I work out 4 times a week. That's it. Unless my daughter's dragging me to the gym, but that's not.
Well, to me, that's a lot to me.
And the last thing is, but you think about what's 4 hours? What's the percentage of 4 hours out of?
Oh yeah, right. True.
How many hours in a week? I used to know that off the top of my head. I'm not going to say it's aging. It's just it's been filled in with other things. So resistance training, sleep, resting, and recovering, and getting that cortisol down mentally. And then also, what was the other thing? And what we eat, and making sure we're getting protein, fats, and carbs in that order. I'm actually doing a masterclass on that at the end of the month on insulin resistance and protein, and how it helps you, and how to eat carbs, because carbs aren't the devil, but how we eat them. So the cortisol thing is, so you want to keep that, so it's blood sugar spikes, insulin release, stresses body, cortisol goes up. So all these hormones they're all intimately interwoven. And that, when you're managing your stress, you're eating healthy for nourishment 80% of the time. And I say 20% gummy bears, that's
Yeah.
that's a ratio. When you're going to bed, have a good sleeping in bed 7 to 9 hours, whatever your schedule will allow. Doing these simple things, exponential difference. But we don't want to do it, and I don't know why. Well, I do know why, because we get stuck in our ways.
It's resistance. You mentioned resistance training.
Yeah, exactly. Literally.
The resistance.
It's resistance to training. The resistance to training.
It's so true. You touched on.
But I want to talk about what women do wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, please. Masterclass.
Yeah.
We try to do it all at once, and we try to do it on our own. Because it's so easy to throw in the towel when you're doing it on your own. So having an accountability buddy, going to a group class like I do. If I don't show up at boot camp, they assume I died. It's like, where are you?
Oh, wow. That's great, though, to have that support system. Yeah, I love that.
Having a community around you is so important, and which is why I wanted to build my group coaching, because they support each other while I'm supporting them. And so yeah, and they try to do it all at once. That is a recipe for disaster. You want to introduce one thing at a time systematically.
I love that. May I interject real quick here? Because you mentioned carbs. Okay. So just like so many other women, I've tried so many different diets. I've tried, the whole fasting thing.
Yeah.
But recently I did the keto diet.
Oh yeah.
And I actually had some success with it. But after a while, it got to be like, I just didn't feel good. I didn't feel right. And not to be graphic or anything, but I had a lot of stomach issues. And I think it's because I was eating so much fat. Whereas like prior to the keto diet, I never it was like no fat. And then so I
Yeah.
went from no fat to high fat and carbs. And so I think that I like that you said carbs aren't the devil or carbs aren't evil, because I actually feel better
Hmm.
when I have carbs in moderation.
Yeah.
So can you talk about that? Um, and I'd love to hear your opinion on different diet fad diets versus just being healthy in general without having to stick to some fad diet.
Yes. Generally, when it comes to diets, like
Yeah.
to Atkins,
Yeah.
all these things, before you start anything, ask yourself, is this sustainable? Now, certain things will get you over a hump. Like right now, I'm on day 7 of the Whole 30. The Whole 30 is not a diet, it's a reset. You cut out
Hmm.
alcohol, all sugar, refined, artificial, even natural sugars like honey,
Hmm.
no grains whatsoever. So I'm running this challenge right now and it's going really well and people are seeing real changes in their body. But the thing is, it's not a diet. You're eliminating bread, grains, all these inflammatory foods. These are foods that cause inflammation in the body. Now, does our body need inflammation? Yes, that's why we have omega 6s, but we have omega 3s. And omega 3s are anti-inflammatory, and omega 6s are inflammatory. I'm pretty sure that's how that goes.
Wow.
They're really
Okay.
good. So, but you need both. You need inflammation to fight infection. There's different reasons for inflammation in
Yeah.
the body. Too much inflammation, though, and then you're getting this inflammation. Anything that ends in itis is inflammation.
Yep.
So, so the food that you're eating. So right now on the Whole 30, it is not, I lost 11 pounds. I did this in September. I lost 11 pounds. My body fat percentage went down 3.5%. My muscle mass went up to 2.4% because I kept working out because I cleaned out all the crap, all the everything, cake, breads, all,
Hmm.
right? And now, is it extreme? Yes, people are freaking out, but that's part of the process. But all it does is get you in touch with your body because we're eating. So what you can eat is all the meats, as long as there's no sugar added. Like I got
Hmm.
bacon, free bacon today. Oh my God, it was so good. All the meats, all the fruit, all the vegetables. So it's
Now,
not. So
what
it's
about, oh, sorry. I'm just going to ask, what about potatoes? Because those would be a
yes.
carb, but they're not a grain.
No, yeah, no. Potatoes, sweet and white, are
Mm,
A-okay. And that I think
potatoes.
that's a selling point for a lot of people. I know it
It's my
wasn't
favorite
like,
food. I love
oh, they're
potatoes
good. But
in
you
any
can't have
form.
French fries. So no seed oils, no soy,
Okay. Okay.
no corn, none of those things that are linked to inflammation.
Okay.
And like I said, I'm on day 7. I'm feeling freaking awesome. My energy all day. I was up 6 a.m. I went all the way through to 9 p.m. Not one dip in my energy the whole time. And I was just go, go, go the whole
That
time. I had so much
that
done.
is amazing. And it's
That is
called the
unheard
Whole
of.
30.
Whole 30. Yeah, it's a national. So this is the journal I bought and this is the book. And it was created. I want to actually reach out to her because I would love to. I want to do this twice a year in my group. It's Whole 30, over 1 million copies sold and probably more now. It's just a reset. She's really strict. Like if you
Hmm.
make a mistake, you have to start from the beginning. If you eat something by accident, I'm saying no, just keep going. You want the wins. You
Yeah.
always want we talk about non-scale victories, better sleep, feeling better in your clothes, less inflammation. Someone's telling me that their carpal tunnel isn't hurting them because there's
Mm,
no inflammatory foods in their diet, which is amazing. So, I
that's
mean, you can get
awesome.
really nitty-gritty and talk about tomatoes, with the what is it, the lysine and all this stuff, but I mean, we're not going there. But
Yeah. But that's.
so you asked me about diets. The only thing I've ever done in my life, which does set me apart. Like, I mean, I've cut back on eat. Like, I've done it the hard way. I never did a diet. It probably would have been easier if I had done a diet. But I did Weight Watchers when I was 6 months
Hmm.
postpartum. I was visiting my sister, and she gave me her slide rule. It was like the old timey Weight Watchers system, be like 17 years ago,
Yeah.
and all this. And I counted my points, but that's when I learned how to track. And I learned how to really focus on what I was eating and understanding what I was putting in my body. Like that was step 1. And I'm so glad I did that because Weight Watchers was really helpful because it helped me create a relationship with my food. Although a lot of women don't get to that point. I kind of that's what I wanted out of it. I wanted to know what was going in my body. But when you're just focused on the points and you're not focused on how you're actually nourishing your body, that's a big disservice to yourself because then when you're done, you have no relationship. It's like living with someone and never getting to know anything about them. And then, and then at the end of it, you're like, oh, what, like a marriage. And you're like, well, I wonder why that didn't work out. Because you
Yeah,
never learned to respect each other. You never learned how to live in harmony. You never learned how to connect and to have an intimate relationship with food. Girl, I love food. I'm not gonna lie. And I am like going nuts on all the Whole30 recipes. My daughter's like, oh my God, we've never
that
eaten so well. I was like, I know. So
that's
diet,
awesome.
it's not sustainable. I say, no, don't do it. Just start making small changes in
Exactly. Oh,
your life.
and yeah, and as you start, what is it? It takes what 3 weeks to form a new habit or something. I think it's like something like
66
that.
days
Oh,
to
66 days.
really
Okay.
establish a habit, according to the University College of London.
Okay.
But the first 21 days is when your body starts to respond.
Okay.
But so it's the physical, it's the
Okay.
mental that takes to 66 days on average to form this a
Yeah.
habit, a long-lasting habit.
So that's
So
why the way that you're saying, one thing at a time, slowly over time, these are now not, you're not just following a diet, but it's
yeah.
just your lifestyle, which I love.
That's what
Um,
my program. I try different kind of lengths of time. I mean, it depends on where you are, and I do offer 3 and 6 months, but honestly, a year. You need a year to make
yeah.
real meaningful change in your life. And that's not just for my program, that's for anybody listening. Ladies, give yourself a year to make real change, and the other 39 years you have on this planet, or however old you are, you're going to be so thankful that you did that. You invested that time in
Mhm.
you. It's just so when you have something really great, you want everyone to know about it. You go to a great
Yeah.
restaurant. He's like, oh my God, I just got the most amazing meal at this place. You gotta go try it out.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about how I live my life. Like,
It's
no,
so
it's really good.
it shows in your every, like, your energy is so positive, and I can just tell how passionate about this stuff that you are, and I love it. This is such a great um informative and inspiring conversation. And I want to ask, there's a couple, we're kind of getting to the end of our time here together, unfortunately, but there's a couple things I just want to ask briefly, if kind of briefly, but
Yeah,
still talk about how alcohol, because you said I still like my glass of wine. So let's talk about real quick
yeah,
how alcohol might hinder um, progress in a healthy lifestyle.
yes.
If it
So
does, if you think it does.
it really comes down to frequency
Mhm.
and amount. I mean, now some people have. I have a friend. She is Thai. And she goes, no, man, no, girl, Asian flush is a thing. Like she just cannot drink alcohol at all. And
Really? Okay.
which is great because she's always a designated driver. So let's
Right.
invite Jane. So if you're watching this, Jane, you just got a shout out for being amazing.
That's awesome. Okay.
But there's a lot of different factors. Like I have a client right now, I noticed, so I noticed she has a glass of wine every single night. I
Yep.
used to do that. I used to like to have a little 3, 4 ounces while I was cooking dinner. And then last time I did Whole30, of course, I cut out alcohol for the 30 days. And now I thought, why am I drinking this? So I'll have like a Topo Chico with lime or something. So I'll
A
have
what?
like a Topo Chico. Do you have that? Like the
No,
little
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's so good. It's like a fizzy water and it comes it's like flavored with real fruit juice. So it's
Oh,
yummy.
okay.
Yeah, it's like a fizzy water, so
Okay. All right.
um mineral water. And yeah, it just feels fancy. But I mean, I don't miss it. So these habits, the doing, reducing, I never say cut out. You never want to cut out because you're just gonna make you want it more.
Exactly.
I used to be on a
Yes.
medication where I took it once a week and I couldn't have alcohol within 24 hours. Girl, I could go all week without thinking about alcohol. And that one day, because I
Yeah.
wasn't allowed, I was like, I really want a glass of wine or, or a
Yeah.
beer, because
That's cool that that was my next question, is once you develop these healthy habits, or a healthy lifestyle, you probably don't even think about drinking, right? So that's kind of where you were headed with that.
yeah, so so I reserve it for the weekend, or
Mhm.
I mean, if I go out on Tuesday with my girlfriends, we're going for literally for drinks. I'll have a drink, not too
Yeah.
much. I gotta get up and work in the morning, but in knowing how things affect you, um, is huge. Like understand, like because some people can have a drink, it doesn't bother them. Some people can have a drink, and it's just so it's again, it's connecting back to your body. How is this really making you feel? So when you start to reduce it, you get to see how things really show up in your life, and it's
Yeah.
scary. I'm not gonna lie, it can be really
Yeah.
scary being so vulnerable and real with yourself, but it is the most powerful thing you've ever had in your life. I've talked to so many women where they feel like they have no power over their lives. It's a man's world, or it's a
Hmm.
oh they're in toxic marriages, or they were raised by a mother who told them like horrible things about being a woman, just whatever it is. And so we just need to, but when you start to understand what makes you tick, forget about what everyone else says. Forget about all those other extras. Like you start to create that relationship with yourself. And I use food and healthy lifestyle to facilitate that. It's the most powerful thing. You are now back in the driver's seat of your life. And it's like,
Oh,
where are we gonna go?
that is that is such a great analogy. Not, I don't even know if I'd call it an analogy, but a mindset more is just it's different for everyone, and only you have that relationship with your own body and mind, and it being back to what you said earlier, treating yourself like a most loved one and being in the driver's, like all of it is just so
Yeah.
inspiring. So I'm hoping that everyone listening is feeling as inspired as I am. I want to go out and like take a jog after this. um
That's
but I do
amazing. I was
I
just
do
gonna
want
say
to go
that
ahead.
I'm all about bodily autonomy, but understand you're Emery, you're the only person who calls the shots in your body. You,
Yeah.
it's scary to understand to be that responsible for someone. We're responsible, we feel as responsible for everybody else. But when we turn it inside and we start being responsible for ourselves, it is the most powerful thing we can do. And I wanted one quick thing.
Yeah.
Jim, like, so, everyone knows the line from Spider-Man that Stan Lee coined was like, with great power comes great responsibility. Jim Quick, who's known as the boy with a broken brain, he had a traumatic brain injury as a child, and he cured, he fixed himself through mind processes, which I took his course. It was amazing. And he said, he's met Stanley. He goes, yes, I believe with great power comes great responsibility. But what if you flip it? With great responsibility comes great power.
Oh.
And so when you start showing up for yourself, when you start putting yourself first, when you start being responsible for all the things you do, mind, body, and soul, you create great power in your life. So I always love that.
Oh, I love that. What a great way to end this. That was awesome. So, all right, let me know how people can get in touch with you. If somebody's interested in working with you, should they just go to your website?
Go to my website. It is currently under construction. So
Okay.
hopefully, I don't know when this is going to air, but hopefully by the time this airs, it'll be all tickety boo. I'm going to get it all
Okay.
done by the end of this week. And I have timewithcoachmo.com. Uh,
Okay.
timewithcoachmo.com.
That'll
So,
be in the show notes. Yep, we'll put it there. And you have a free gift?
yes, my 5-minute morning reset. Did I send you the link for that?
Yes, I have it. I'll put it in the show notes. I actually got my own copy this morning of that.
Perfect. Oh, perfect.
um,
Excellent.
and then the very last thing, I don't know if you've ever seen it, if you watched any of my previous episodes, but I always ask two just random questions at the end of the interview, just
Mhm.
to kind of throw you a loop, throw you for a loop. Okay,
I
you
love it.
ready?
Bring it on.
All right. Do you believe in Bigfoot?
Believe there are things that we do not know or can explain. I feel like I want that to be true. I have
Yeah.
it on my car.
You do? Oh my God, my boyfriend is obsessed with Bigfoot. He thinks it's real. I'm like, he's not real. They would have found him by now. So it's this interesting dynamic. So I always like to get other people's opinions.
Yes, I was like, I love to watch Ancient Aliens, all the connections. It's like,
Yeah.
look at Goosebumps. It's like we're just because we're just one part of the big piece here, like a big
Yeah.
part of a greater thing. And we get to show up in this life and we get to generate the energy that we do and we get to have fun and experiences
Yeah, it's
called life. And it's just so I want to be just like Bigfoot. I want to be I want to be a magical creature in this
you're
life.
right.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
that's awesome. Yeah, I saw a picture on Facebook the other day to prove your point about how we're just a small, minute part of such a greater big
yeah.
thing. It was a picture of like the solar, even bigger than the solar system. It was just
Yeah.
like this huge picture of space, and the Earth was like a tiny little dot with an arrow pointing to Earth. It was like, whoa,
Yeah. You are
you know.
here.
All right,
Yeah.
last question. If given the opportunity to have dinner with any one person, alive or dead, who would you choose?
I was just thinking about this the other day, and I think I'd love to have dinner with my mom because
Oh, I love that.
I think I cried. She has dementia, so and it's quite advanced. And I think of all the things, if I could go back, if she could come out of it for a day, and all the things I'd ask her that I didn't ask when I had the chance, I'd ask her now. So
Oh,
for anyone listening, if you have the chance to ask your mother, because life is precious and we never know what's around the next corner. So
no.
that's why it's so important to live it like it is the last moment, like it's the last day. And I mean, do I do that every day? No, but to understand what's important. And so my little mama, she's still here with us, and she's beautiful and she's wonderful, and I'm so glad she's my mom. But I just wish that I had asked her those important things while she could
Oh,
still
wow.
give me answers. So
That's awesome. And I'm sorry to hear about your mom. That must be really tough. So,
she's
um,
she's happy and she's well cared for, and that's
I was
all that
gonna
matters
say,
to
as
me.
long as she's happy, you know.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
she still laughs at me. She did call me young man when I was there. Oh no, she said, "Oh, look, your wonderful husband," talking to my niece. She's
oh
talking
my
about.
goodness. Oh, bless her heart.
I
Goodness.
know. It was a good
Well,
laugh, that's for sure.
anyway, Mo, it has been so great to talk to you, and I thank you so much for coming on and sharing your insights and advice and health tips. And yeah, everybody, make sure you find out more about Coach Mo. And if you want to get in better shape, take better care of yourself, and love yourself like a true loved one, reach out to Coach Mo.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Mo.
much. Thanks for the
Okay,
energy. It was wonderful.
we'll see you next time, everybody.